Welcome, everybody. We're getting started in just a moment here. If you'd like to join us, we've got Ensano on the stage here, and I'm with Tim Bierman. And Tim, what are you going to be talking about today?
So actually today I'm going to be talking about enterprise IT service management, especially in a hybrid model. If you look at the enterprises today, they're dealing with a lot of changes, a rapidly evolving market, and they just have the reality of having to deal with hybrid IT systems. And how are we going to manage that and tie that to our clients is going to be very important.
So it's kind of... So it's kind of a thing where you have different systems that have to communicate together in order to move forward, right?
Absolutely. They need to communicate together, but more importantly, as you're managing those, how do you have a holistic view of what you're managing, whether it's an old mainframe system or if it's new AWS, more in the cloud applications.
All right, very good. Well, come on in and join us, everybody, if you'd like. We're getting started here with our next speaker from Ensano. The topic is hybrid systems management for the enterprise. So come on in and grab a seat. You're welcome to bring your coffee and take a seat with us here. They're about 15-minute presentations. So please welcome to the stage, Tim Bierman.
Great. All right. Everybody hear me okay? Great. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming. My name's Tim Bierman, and I'm CTO for Ensano. And we're going to talk to you today in the next few minutes about hybrid systems management for the enterprise. As everybody knows, what's happening in the enterprise today is they're competing in a rapidly evolving market. New technology is coming to market. New players are coming to market. The buying patterns of the consumers are changing very rapidly. And tools and platforms like AWS are allowing enterprises to build new applications, to open up new markets, and really compete in new ways. But the same tools are also allowing new competitors to come to market very quickly as well. The other challenge that the enterprises have is that by nature, most enterprises have a legacy of old systems that have been around for decades, buoying the success of those companies, then come around with some very valuable applications and some very valuable data that is still relevant to that enterprise today as they move forward. And by that nature, it opens up very much of a hybrid environment. So I'm going to talk today about how you manage that and some of the value a service provider provides to that level. The first thing is when hybrid IT systems management, it really starts with understanding the client, especially in the enterprise space. Gone are the days when you'd be able to talk to a client and sit down and say, how many servers do you need? How much storage? How big do they need to be? Let me stand those up. Let's install an application. Let's go. Those days are past. What is very important today is when you sit down and work with the client is really understanding the client and their business. What business outcomes do they want to achieve both today and tomorrow? And probably most importantly is what applications exist today to help drive and deliver those business outcomes, and what applications are going to develop in the future to achieve that. So really knowing the direction of their business, where they're going, and the IT footprint today and over the next 2 to 3 years is really important in really setting up that hybrid IT strategy. So really what it comes down to is you're working with the client is you really want to understand their business and have a business conversation first. Technology is a conversation you'll have the next stage. So where do we go from there? It then comes with positioning the right solution. So whether it's a mainframe system, a private cloud platform, or managed AWS, you really want to lead with putting the right client in the right place. Let's take mainframe, for example. On the enterprise specifically, there's a lot of enterprises that today have a maturing workforce. They're faced with a set of workforces retiring, maturing out, applications are harder to support, or very large or complex cost structures they're trying to avoid. So positioning the right solution may start with the mainframe. But more and more as you're sitting down with clients and really starting to understand the digital transformation strategy and where they're going is leading with the public cloud. And so part of that is working with Amazon's systems, whether you're running a Microsoft workload on that or building a net new development, is to build that on a managed AWS system to really position the right solution in the cloud-first methodology. So what this really does is the value from this perspective, it allows you to meet clients where they are today on their digital transformation journey. Many clients are struggling to go from old platforms, compete with new platforms. How do you bring these together? And they don't know whether they should run all the way to the right and let's go cloud first, cloud only. I've got these platforms on the legacy platforms I need to maintain and tie together. And finding someone that can work with them to meet them where they are today and drive that methodology forward and help them plan the next step and the next step and the next step versus trying to force them where they want to go is critically important. So this is about putting the right solution in place for our clients. So once you get down that path and get on the journey is how do you start that journey? How do you get the right workload in the right place with our clients? So if you're working with the client, what's changing? So we talked about how fast technology is changing in the industry. What's critically as important is while clients want to have a long-term relationship, and many will still want to sign a 3 or 4 year contract to get the best pricing available or to kind of build that relationship. The reality of what's happening in the IT space today is that technology is not staying static in the period of that 2, 3, 4, or 5 year contract. The business is evolving and changing rapidly around our clients, and what they need to be able to do is make rapid changes and say, maybe I've signed up to have a mainframe 3 or 4 years, and 24 months into that contract, it's like I need to make a pivotal direction to go heavy into a cloud platform or rewrite my entire app in the cloud platform. Now, what do I do with this old mainframe asset? What do I do with this? So part of this right workload, right place is making sure you can land that where our clients are today, but also help those clients through the relationship of that overall contract or the partnership you're going to have with them. So what will happen in a lot of cases, you may have a client that starts out with the mainframe service, and if you look at some of the capabilities that exist on there, the core application may be running in COBOL and Kix, but just because that was the resources they had 5, 10, 15 years ago, they're going to be writing a lot of applications that run on mainframe because that's what they had. More and more today with a hybrid IT service management is sitting down with the client, understanding those workloads, and trying to pick off those top workloads that, yeah, they are written on the mainframe, but they're actually better equipped to run in AWS. They're better equipped to run in a serverless environment. And how do you help clients migrate, move, and instrument those new applications that maybe still talk back to the mainframe? So we talked about putting the right workload in the right place. So that right workload, right place conversation, many times it starts out the right place being managed AWS services. So what's important about managed AWS services? And as a service provider, the value we bring to a lot of our clients on that side is that while AWS makes it very easy, very simple to use the services, the key question an enterprise still has to answer is where do I want to put my resources? Where is it valuable for me to say, do I want people trying to figure out how to secure an AWS environment correctly? Do I want my people trying to figure out how I build and maintain the right level of high availability among regions? Do I want my people chasing around cost structures and where things go? So the value of a fully managed service in the hybrid IT service management platform is to remove the clients from that. Let them focus on understanding their applications and building new, great applications, and let the service provider, let hybrid IP service management look at that and say, let's manage the governance cost structure. Let's figure out where we take cost out, not only today when you first deploy an application, but where do we take cost out of the application 12, 24, 16 months down the road as we move forward. The other piece of that is how do you maintain the overall security in a very dynamic environment? If you look at an application that's running on AWS today that is talking to other applications, whether it's API calls back to a mainframe or a private cloud environment, you still need to maintain the right security, the right network connectivity. Having a service provider architect and deliver that across that spectrum becomes very important in that overall process. So if you look at overall hybrid IT service management in general, to bring all these things together, and this is what really becomes critical, is how do you take whether it's mainframe, a private cloud, or AWS, and provide a holistic set of services to a client. And what's important here is delivering a seamless integration across those services, providing a single source of the truth. So if you look at a configuration management database, you want to be able to have a single view of all the assets that are running in your public cloud environment, all the assets running in private cloud, and all the assets are running in a mainframe environment, holistically tied together, one ticketing system, one view to the portal, one set of integration back and forth across those environments. So what becomes critical about that is a client doesn't want to have different technologies and feel like if they're working with different technologies, they're not working with different providers. They want to have a single provider view. And so at Insono, we do that through what we call Insono MO. It's our modus operandi, or for the less pretentious in the crowd, it's our method of operations. We use that tool to provide service management, configuration management, all the things you would typically expect, and provide visibility and transparency to that end-to-end environment. Here's a great use case. You look at that enterprise today that's running a mainframe application that's core to the business. It's what they grew and they built up over the last 15, 20 years. It's what got them where they are today. A lot of data, a lot of value there. But more and more what they're doing is they're spinning up new applications that sit in AWS. They're going to talk back to that environment. And in the enterprise, those are usually two different organizations. You have your mainframe development operations team, and you have your new development teams that may or may not be in the CI office. They may be actually in the business. And those applications are talking back to the mainframe. And what typically happens is the mainframe teams look at it, it's like, wow, my MIPS are going up over a period of time. What's happening? What's driving this performance curve? I haven't made any changes on my side. Little do they know that there's new applications or a new marketing launch or something that happened up on an AWS application that is now driving a significant amount of change, a significant amount of growth on that mainframe usage. And what a service management partner can do, and through hybrid IT service management, is we can be the glue that brings all those types of things together. See what's happening on that mainframe, see what's happening in that business application view that's happening on an AWS application, and driving up MIPS utilization and driving up performance utilization on a mainframe, and bring back to the client to have a business conversation. Do you know this is happening? How do we fine-tune and streamline your AWS application? How do we use things like API gateways effectively to minimize repetitive calls? How do we help streamline and save costs on the mainframe through a lot of those changes? So what's really critical is this end-to-end view from what's happening on the public cloud to what's happening on the legacy systems and tying it all together. So a little bit more on InsonoMO. So what InsonoMO is, and this is the hybrid IT platform that delivers this capability. It is a robust and seamless combination of people, process, and technology. Those three working very closely together to bring a set of tools not only to us as operators, but to our clients in a visual presentation. What we're allowed to do is provide real-time integration and a real-time view of the IT assets for a client at that application business level across the entire spectrum. Again, whether it's in the cloud or whether it's in a legacy platform. It allows us to efficiently codify best practices for clients. And what that means is you get consistency and you get repeatability in how that's provided, and it allows you to maintain the overall effectiveness of the process. It always makes it much easier for clients to come on board and have a consistent experience with new applications versus old applications because we've codified those experiences. We ought to also work through to automate those best practices. Automation is critical because it drives efficiency and it drives repeatability and it gets rid of the human error that takes place in a lot of cases. So automation allows our clients to now focus on delivering applications and allows our operators to now not have to worry about providing very mundane capabilities as far as a CPU filling up or as memory filling up, but now have a business conversation with clients. Do you know this is what's going on in your environment? Do you know this is what's happening in your application? And pivot that and have that conversation with our clients. A lot of what the really effective system will allow you to do is through a lot of deep monitoring and management is to be able to identify 95% of the problems before they actually become problems. And this is critical because, as many of you know, there's a lot of leading indicators that lead up to something that's going to happen in an environment that may or may not be an outage. And a service management platform, InsonoMO, provides that level of visibility and transparency to see where something may break or where something may go wrong in the future and fix it before it's actually a problem. And the last piece is being an accredited system. What's important by having an accredited system is, especially in the enterprise, whether it's HIPAA, it's PCI, it's SOX, it's IT or ISO certifications, having a system that's built around those and certified against those is extremely important. So while the slide kept wanting to go to the last one, we're here. If you'd like to learn more about MO or like to learn more about hybrid IT service management, please visit our booth at 2217 and talk to any of us there. We're in the purple shirts. We can talk to you more about that and how we bring that together. And also please register for one of the appeals. Thank you very much.